in that listed countries. So you may see that there are 10 countries listed, and additionally there are 3 regions. So they are not just single countries, but they are covering several countries. So Greece and Cyprus together, Serbia, Montenegro, and North Macedonia together, and Croatia, Slovenia, and Bosnia-Herzegovina together. So these are the areas we would like to cover. And if you would like to be our expert in that country, it's very important that you are having a presence in that country. If we are talking about a region, let's say Serbia, Montenegro, and North Macedonia, of course, you don't have to be physically present in all the countries. But at least in one of them, you should have a physical presence, office, or something which makes you qualified to give us the support. Switching to the next slide. What are our working areas? We are having 4 main working areas: local community building, impact venture support, innovation support, and education support. The ones who are working with us since a longer time, they may know that the local community building is mainly targeting to expand our network, to get new members, to have the members more connected, to have them for them more services. Impact venture support is about the support of the startups. So we are supporting startups on different ways. For example, we are giving soft landing for the startups which would like to be in your countries, or we are making different startup support programs. We are investing in startups. So this is the impact venture support part. The innovation support part is to help larger companies to make an international consortium to apply in the innovation calls, or to apply for special programs like the Rector, for example. By education support, there are 2 different activities. On one side, of course, we have to look for the talents, and the talents shall be supported to find our matching programs. So we are making master programs, but we are making also different educational programs for professionals. Maybe the most important are the educational programs which we are doing for city managers. And of course, the education has also another part which we are looking for a network of organizations which can support us in the different educational programs. So local universities or local SMEs who are making professional training of different professionals. The call is for 4 years, so you have to apply for 48 months, and you have to address at least 2 of the following areas. However, if you are addressing all of the areas in the evaluation, you will score higher. So it's highly supported that you are covering all the areas, and you should do it. However, it may be that you are not having a good network in all the different areas, and because of that, we would like to give you the possibility to set up a consortium in which the consortium members are working on different areas. So it means the maximum size of the consortium are 3 partners, and each of the partners should lead at least one of the work packages. It's and regarding the eligibility, so of course you have to check the completeness of the application. You have to have registered to the NetSuite just to be able to submit. But it's also very important that we are having a self-declaration form. In this self-declaration form, you have to declare which work package you are leading, that you are represented in that countries that you are having a track record. So it's very important to have this self-declaration as well. And by the consortium, as said, so maximum 4 members, and each member should be active on one of the fields or very active. Of course, it doesn't mean that only this one entity can work in, let's say, in the innovation program, but it has to be the lead entity, and all the other consortium members can support them. You will see also by the budget table that it's foreseen that you are having budget for different programs, but maybe it's the most important if one member is taking over one of the activity fields or work packages. I was talking about the self-declaration form of the competencies. It's helping us a lot to control the eligibility of your applications. Of course, before the final stage of the evaluation, we may request also different proof of the self-declaration. So please be aware that it's very important that what you are stating, you have to be able also to prove somehow for us. You have to have a video pitch link. It's very, very important that you are foreseen to have a co-funding. This co-funding rate should be minimum 15% across the whole project. But higher is welcome, of course, and will be also positively evaluated by the evaluation. There are some mandatory KPIs, practically 2.
The slides are frozen to these working areas in my case.
Okay, so sorry for that. Moving on the other screen. Okay. I hope that now you can see. Okay, so the
Yes.
co-funding rate should be at least 15%, as said. The mandatory KPIs, we are having 2 mandatory KPIs, which are in most of the cases new startups created for innovation. We are having the minimum number 1, and new members connected to the KIC, which is also having the minimum value 1. But in case of Malta, because of the small size of the ecosystem, we had to do it differently. And in case of Malta, instead of 4.2, we are having 7.2 by the EIT KPIs, which are the RIS graduates from the EIT labeled programs. But it just in case of Malta, for all the others, 4.2 and PFT CB1 are the most important. So maybe PFT is something new for you. I will explain it in the next slides more detailed. So the PFT concept is that we are having an incentive system to reward the outcomes of the project. So you will see that we are having different PFTs. For our RISUMS, maybe it's already well known, but for the others, maybe it's something different. And there should be a larger part of the budget connected to these PFTs, and because of that, we are having also a calculation table, and based on this calculation table, the PFT related budget part should be between 15 and 40%. Of course, it has to be in this range, but if you are having a higher percentage, it's more welcome. Moving to the next slide. We listed all the files you have to deliver us. So please check them all before submission that you are having them all. But we Anlo will have also a separate slide on that. Of course, application form is clear. Self-declaration should be very clear. It's a very simple Word document. The CVs of the experts has to be attached. We are having a budget proportion calculation, PFT budget proportion calculation table, which I will introduce you very soon. A project budget forecast for 26, 28, which will be presented by Anlo, and the video pitch link. So, and I was telling you that I would like to tell some words about the PFTs, about the performance funding targets. First, we are having the mandatory
Sorry,
KPIs.
Bence, sorry to interrupt you, because we still see the slides.
Yes.
The document list.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry. Okay. So we are having the mandatory KPI, as said. We have to focus on that two KPIs because they are mandatory. One is the number of the startups created, and the other is the new members, which are referred by the experts and which are getting member in the kick. So the minimum expectation is by both at least one, because it's mandatory, but it can be higher, and it's very much welcome if it's higher. In both cases, if you are having a higher potential, please include a higher ambition, and your evaluation will be better in that case. If we are moving to the PFTs, to the performance funding targets, so you may see that we are having for each our different performance settings targets. So we are having for innovation, we are having for impact ventures, and we are having for education. Now here are the groups listed, but there is a more specific breakdown in the core manual, and you can see that for impact ventures, we are having from deal 1 to deal 6, and by education we are having for ED1 to ED5. So there are different subcategories, and there are also different budgets connected to that PFT values. So all the main results of your activities will be measured by the PFTs. So we can say that the most important outcomes for us are the PFTs, and because of that, these PFTs or the evaluation of the PFT ambition level and the value for money, PFTs and budget will be very much highlighted in the evaluation. These KPIs and PFTs have to be indicated annually and have to be achieved annually, which means that if you are including KPIs or PFTs for 25, of course, they have to be achieved until the end of 25, and you are not having the possibility to move them for the next years. So, of course, we know that you are not able to make a right estimation what will be happen in 4 years in 28, and because of that, the targets for the year 25 should be fixed, but all the other targets for 26, 27, 28 can be slightly adapted later on. So it means that you should try to estimate it as good as you are able. But of course, you will have experiences based on the activities, and because of that, it can be necessary that you are updating for the upcoming years your PFTs. So, and PFTs are optional. You see that you don't have to, you have to deliver all, but it doesn't mean that they are not important. So they are very, very important for us. And it's very important that you are delivering as many PFTs and as high PFT levels as possible. Why is it important? Because these PFDs will be used on different ways. So it means that we are using them also for the evaluation of the application, as said, and the higher PFD level is higher evaluated. We will check the budget proportion of the PFDs. I will show you very soon the table where we are doing it. It should be between 15 and 40%, and the higher percentage in this range is more welcome. And we are using also the PFDs for the annual performance review. We have to review your performance every year. And based on this performance review, we can continue the project in the following years. And of course, the budget should be also adapted. So if you are not reaching some of the PFDs, of course, there will be financial sanctions. So it's worth to plan the PFDs in a realistic level and not overshoot, because underperformance will be not welcome. So if we are moving to the next slide. Sorry. So then we are having this PFD calculation table. I hope you can see it well. So on this PFD calculation table, you see all the PFDs listed, and you see these yellow fields. You have to fill out the yellow fields. First, you have to fill out what will be the total budget of your application, which should be just the EIT funding part of the budget. And after that, you have to offer us PFD values. Based on these PFD values, the total PFD budget in the green line will be calculated. And you can see the numbers 7% in the header. So it will be also automatically calculated. So if you are offering the PFDs, you will see automatically that what is the percentage of your PFDs by that calculation. So I think that I hope that it's a very easy way of planning. We are having this PFD calculation table for each year for 25, 26, 27, 28. However, you may know that, or you heard that you can also update later the later years. If you are not having any better idea, it's also a possibility that you are planning your 25 KPIs and budget, and you are just copy pasting it to the next years. However, if you are having a more precise analysis, please make it more precise. And we are coming to the budget part. And by the budget, it's very important that we are planning for each year at least €1.5 million for all the countries together. Of course, there may be the question that how much you can reach with your application. You find a kind of supporting table in the core manual, where different groups or different clusters are represented, micro regions, small regions, middle-sized regions, and large regions, and connected to that, there is a range which is, according to our estimation, a realistic range. However, of course, your budget will be always examined connected to your PFDs. So if you are having a very ambitious PFD targets, you may have maybe a higher request of budget. If your PFDs are not so ambitious, maybe it's not justified to have this range at all, and maybe you can offer a lower price as well. So the similar budget is foreseen for the upcoming years as well. And as said, so it's the most important is the value for money. So the budget size is not connected to the region, but more connected to the PFT values what you are reaching, and the KPIs which you are offering should be realistic and should be in line with the budget proposal. So again, co-funding rate should be 15%. But if two proposals from the same country are having the same scoring, it will mean that the one who is having a higher co-funding will be the winner. And we are having this table here, which is the micro regions, small regions. But as said, it's just the orientation, so you don't have to follow it. Our estimation is that if you are having an ambitious PFT plan, it's the right budget, but you have to work on that, of course. So now I giving the floor to Anne-Laure, who will give you some details regarding the budget planning, and after that we are having the first Q&A part connected to.
Yes.
To
Thank
the
you very
questions.
much, Bence. Just before moving on with the budget forecast Excel, I just wanted to go back to the PFT calculation tab, just so you know, because we are using the concept of price, but this doesn't mean you actually able to have any profit of it. So what we actually saying this is they are real costs. So whatever we put like 1, 2, 3, the value that we are actually adding linked to each KPI or PFTs, this represents the cost that you will actually need afterwards to justify, right? So I'm giving an example. You are using, I don't know, like 3,000 euros for personnel. You will actually need to justify this cost as a normal standard project using cost report and justifying your expenses and your cost at the end of each periodic report. Okay, so just moving on. The project budget. So a bit the particularity actually of this call and the project in application is that you have two ways that you need to follow to actually submit your budget. The first one is actually using the application form on NetSuite. So Elisa will actually guide you afterwards and show you how you actually need to submit a detailed budget for 2025, okay? After that, for the period 26, 7, and 8, we are actually using an Excel. This is also because we are now using this new NetSuite platform, and we have this limitation right now at that moment, and we actually need to use this Excel to actually understand what's the forecast, what's the planning of your budget for the other period. Okay, so using this Excel, which is actually the template is available on the call website, you will see different tabs. One tab per year, 26, then 27, then 28. And it's prepared for a maximum of 3 partners because that's the eligibility of the call, up to 3 partners. Of course, the minimum is 1. If you don't use your mono application or you just have 2 partners, of course, you disregard the table that you're actually not using. Okay. So what is important to understand here is that, of course, you will really need the yellow cells exclusively with, as I said, the cost, the forecast, the estimation of your cost for 26, 7, and 8. Because we know it's an estimation, and we know, and you know, and we explain this will be revised every year, confirmed if your project is selected. Every year, you're going to go through a continuation assessment process. Your budget at that moment will actually be revised and confirmed. So what we actually want here is to understand what's the projection, what is the forecast, what you actually plan for the years to come, in relation to the activity that you will actually plan. Okay, so provided that you will do the same type of activity from 27 into the next period, 26, 7, and 8, of course, you can slightly put similar values into this Excel. And work package, we are giving an example now, what work package 1, 2, 3, 4, considering you also plan to contribute to the 4 work packages. If it's less, of course, you update as your activity is actually your project is actually contributed to. The description also, a very short description is enough. And if the same is very similar to 2025, you can also put similar description here. Okay. You just have a zoom here, just so you see how it works, but it's very similar. It's actually very similar to NetSuite. You will see it afterwards with Elisa. Okay, yellow, only the yellow cells. And of course, here you have a percentage to respect, because it's not only about your cost budget estimation, but it's also about your co-funding participation. So we also need to understand how this co-funding is coming from. Is it from your own resources, or it's from the private source, or national, regional, etc. Of course, okay, and of course the percentage, the total should be 100%. So it's also dependent on how many. The minimum is 15%, but how many co-funding you are actually applying to. And this is also another zoom just to remind you, because in our call, we are actually using the Horizon Europe program and cost categories. So this is exactly the same that you will find in the previous calls, in the future ones. So we have a document, eligibility of expenditure document, that you can look into when there is a summary of an explanation of the main cost categories and what are the eligible and non-eligible costs as well. So you will see it's detailed, but of course, at the end, they are the same type of category: personal cost, which is divided into different categories. Employee, which most of the time will be used by applicants, but you can also have natural person working with your organization under a contract service. Seconded person and SME owners, if also is the case. We also have subcontracting, of course, that is possible. Travel and subsistence, equipment, other goods and services. And then we have these categories that can also be used in some cases, in some projects: financial support to third parties, which is via subgrants or prize, if your activity foreseen to organize, I don't know, like a hackathon or a small call to actually select the best ideas, and you give a grant to actually develop a small pilot, or you just give a prize to the best ideas during the hackathon that would be recognized, for instance. So yeah, you can actually have this possibility to add in your budget. So just before moving on with the call timeline and evaluation and selection, we just wanted to ask if you have additional questions or doubts so far, mainly based on the content or the budget or the PFT, the KPIs. We've been answering some of the questions already, and I have to say sorry for the beginning, the mistake of UK, because this call, of course, is targeted exclusively to RIS countries, and at the beginning we actually have I can show very quickly these slides where actually there is the geographic spread and the eligibility. UK is eligible for the majority of our other calls, not targeted exclusively to RIS countries, but that's not the case of this one. Yes, we have a raise. Natasha, you can ask your question.
Maybe to the map as well, that it's just an illustration, because you can see that Spain is a RIS country, but we are not looking for experts in Spain. So don't look on the map, which is covering all the RIS countries, but please look on the listing of the countries. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, hi, I'm Natasha. I'm Dio from the Green Institute. I have actually two questions. First question, what I'm not quite sure is the program covers all these countries, and the budget which you mentioned is for 4 years for all 10 countries?
No, it's for the certain regions yearly. So it's every year. Of course, we are not having a breakdown country by country because we would like to give the possibility to have higher and lower ambition plans. But we are having this at least €1.5 million for each year. Which will be then divided between the countries.
Okay, and then a second question is related. I've noticed from the example, and I believe that we should allocate the budget for startups as well to support startups, right? But what kind of support is in which budget line this goes? It's like a support to third parties, and what type of support we can provide?
So you can do it, but you are not obliged to do it because your main role is to fill the pipeline. So we are having our EIT Urban Mobility programs like the acceleration program, like a startup investment program, and so on. You can make some small local programs to support the startups to prepare for the application. But it's just to fill the pipeline. So you are not the ones who are investing in the startups. If you can do it with consultations, you can do it with consultations. If you are making a kind of training for them, it's welcome as well. But it's not a dominant part of your application. You should focus on your services and not on sub-grants. Maybe in some of the cases they may be justified that you are making a local startup pitching day, and on this pitching day you are having just a small prize, €1,000 or I don't know. But it's not foreseen that you are investing a lot in startups or in any of the programs.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So Sematas is the next, if I pronounce right.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. I just wanted to double check if I understood the setup of the budget correctly. So the one that you demonstrated before, the PFTs, this will be paid at the end of the year, basically, in order to, well, once we demonstrate what we have reached. But also we have the budget that was shown by Annie, I believe.
Hello?
Yes, which is horizon based. So basically we are setting one budget, which is the our personal costs, subcontracting, etc. And then we have a second part of the budget that comes at the end of the year due to our results. Am I correct?
No, it's not foreseen on that way. So you will have a yearly budget for each year. And this yearly budget will have a breakdown, which is shown by Anlo, that we will have the cost categories just to see what is behind. But you will have, in the end, you will have a total sum. Let's say, I don't know, €100,000 for that year. And we will have a payment schedule, which we are having by all the projects, which is slightly different by SMEs and by big companies. As a SME, you can get an advance payment, and as big company, you cannot. But you are having an advance payment, an interim payment, and a final payment. And these payments are according to the size of the company, fixed in percentage, and you will get the whole. So if you are not fulfilling your PFTs, we will compensate it by the last payment.
So, but just if I may follow up with
Yep.
with the question,
Please.
just to kind of understand. So basically, the PFTs are the certain amount of the whole budget, or it's additional? I mean, when Alore was
It's
mentioning,
included. It's included. So let's take our example. So you are having a budget of 100,000 euro. In that, your according to the PFT calculation table, you will see you will have 30,000 euro. If you are putting this 30,000 euro or the PFTs in the calculation table, you will have a percentage of 30% because of the sums. And this 30,000 will be included in the 100,000. So
but included in the personal costs, in other
yes,
costs, they are
yes.
they are
So of
basically-
course, as Anlo said, so it's a grant, and because of that, you have to provide the costs. So you are not able to make a profit, and because of that, in all the cases, you should have referring costs behind. But the payment will be if you are having 100,000. Let's say that you are getting according to the company size, maybe 30,000 in advance payment, then 30,000 in the interim, and 40,000 euro in the end. So it's not. There are no differences. The breakdown is just for the calculation reasons, how to calculate, for example, the indirect costs and so on.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Christina, please.
Hi, I'm coming from Green Mobility is NGO, so I have one question because we are a new NGO, so I want to ask if we are new NGO, but in the consortium with more experience, we have more experienced partners, as well experienced staff and member. Are we eligible, or maybe this will be decrease the chance of the consortium, no matter which experience we have or what kind of offers of experts we provide?
In the self-declaration form, you will see that you should state that you are since 3 years in that country represented. In special cases, maybe it's possible if you are having already you are a successor of another organization, or you are having already a kind of track record which can be connected to you. Maybe it can be there can be special cases, but foreseen is that you are already active since 3 years in this country to have your network.
Thank you.
Welcome. Camille, please.
Yes. Hi, Bense. So I have a questions regarding the KPI, because you say for small ecosystems, so the mandatory KPIs is the number of participants in EIT label programs. And you say with, so one of the mandatory KPI is like with, let me check, it was with.
It was 7.2 in case of Malta, which is.
Yeah, I think for Malta, and then you say Maltese, so it was the number of Maltese citizenship. So what happened if, let's say, if people are not Maltese, but they lived in Malta, so they won't be eligible for the KPI? And we are wondering, can this, instead of citizenship, can it be residency, with Maltese residency?
In the most of the programs, like, you know, the Jumpstarter, we are having both options open. So also if you are citizen of a RIS country, or you are resident of a RIS country. So
Okay.
maybe we should use it on that way, because I know that in Malta there are a lot of people who are not having the citizenship, or because of that, if they are resident in Malta, I think we can accept it.
Okay, so let's say if it's a Dutch living in Malta, can they count as a KPI, or it needs to be another?
So if they are from RIS countries, it's more simple, I think.
Okay.
If somebody who is resident but not coming from a RIS country, it's a special case, and let's discuss it, because if this person is living since long time and planning to live also a longer period in Malta, we can maybe treat them as Maltese. But of course, if there is somebody who is just going from Germany for half a year to Malta, it doesn't make sense for us.
Okay. Let's. Good to see that there could be room for this. Thank you. Another thing as well is for the soft lending. You say like portfolio startups only, so it means that this can only apply to startups that are already in the ecosystem of EIT Urban Mobility. Cannot be any random mobility startups.
No, our goal is to support all startups where we are having already shares.
Okay, good. And my last question is, because I saw that you have to, for the membership, if we get selected, all the consortium members needs to pay a membership fee to EIT?
Yes, so you have it in the core manual that there are. So I think if a single entity is getting less than 30,000 euro, you can be exempt of the membership fee. But all the consortium member who are already above, you have to pay a membership fee.
Okay, and this because in the document you just mentioned small and micro organizations, but let's say if it's a public organizations that is only taking part in the RIS Hub and they're receiving less than 30K, can they be eligible for the waiver, for the fee waiver?
We have to clarify it with finance. I think that if we are talking about NGOs, for example, we can treat them similarly as SMEs, but of course not the large companies. Although maybe you know it, that how we are doing it in case of NGOs, I think it's similar than SMEs, right?
Well, some NGOs can fit into the definition of an SME. There is an European definition, and some of them might maybe fit into it. But I will say it's better that we take this separately, this question of the membership fee, because this is something, also maybe not for everyone. And I will say, Camille, you can reach out by email, and we see, or other person that are interested in this topic can reach out by email. You have the contact details on the call website, on the call manual, actually.
Okay, sounds good. Perfect.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If you don't mind, I'm going to be very quick on the call timeline, evaluation and selection, just so you understand a bit the process behind this. And then we will continue with Elisa. She will show you how NetSuite works, because it's completely new, a new submission tool. And I think for you, it's very interesting to look into how make the best a successful submission of your proposal. Timeline, the call was open on the 4th of July. Deadline 30th of September 2024 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, sorry. It's very, very important, of course, you keep the timing in, you remember about the timeline, because of course, if you submit a submission, if you submit after the deadline, actually, you won't be able to submit anything, and your proposal will be directly disregarded. So we, of course, recommend you to start your application as early as possible and to submit even a day before, at least, to make sure everything is correct and in the system. Eligibility and admissibility check. This is what we actually do after the submission is over, the time is over. We actually look into the eligibility criteria and do a pre-screening and see which proposal can actually be sent to the first stage of the evaluation, which is a quality evaluation, which will be done during October, November. The portfolio selection will explain the final step of the selection will be done in November. Communication of the results end of November, early December. So we have the entire month, or at least a big part of December, to go through the conditions clearing with the pre-selected proposals, and the project need to start on the 1st of January. And we run, as we said, until the end of 2028 with an early checkpoint of your assessment to, of course, confirm the budget and, of course, your performance. So you saw this already. It's also part of the call manual section 5, but just so you know, if your proposal is completed, submit it on time, cover only one country and region, etc., we will move forward. It will be admissible, and we will look into the other criteria: applicant registration, eligibility, consortium composition, etc. With some aspect of this eligibility check, if we check, for instance, your PIF, or if we check something is wrong with the registration of an applicant, you might have 5 calendar days to actually correct the information. Okay, this is especially because we are not using NetSuite, and of course, problem can happen. We hope not, but so we are actually giving you these extra days to, in case you can correct. But of course, the message is do a complete proposal. Make sure you complete and you fulfill other requirements, because this we are talking about 5 calendar days is not a lot. And we probably, if this is not corrected by that deadline, you will be losing this opportunity, and your proposal will actually be not eligible. We continue with the criteria that Bense shared with you. You have this self-declaration of competencies. You ask you to submit the template that you also can find on the call website. The video pitch, we are asking you to record a very short 4-minute pitch, and you put the link on your application, the co-funding rate, as Bense mentioned, the mandatory KPIs, and the PFT. So all this information is also part of the eligibility and admissibility check. So if your proposal doesn't fit with it, of course, it will be not eligible. You still have 5 calendar days as well to correct. But as I said, don't take it for granted that it will be okay. So please be very careful whenever you submit your proposal. Before you push the button, make sure you have everything completed at that moment. 2 phases of the evaluation. We start with the first phase, the quality evaluation, which score the biggest. Of course, it's 105 points. 3 expert evaluators and 1 internal will actually assess your proposals based on predefined criteria that you also can see on section 5 of the call manual. It's very detailed, and they will come up with a summary evaluation report per proposal. Okay, they will look into 3 different criteria: the excellence, so mainly the applicant, your track record, your experience in the field of the activity; the impact, so the level of the ambition of your KPIs and PFTs mainly; and the quality of the implementation, so looking into the budget, is it the best value for money, and how the work plan is designed, is it also in line with the budget. Up to 2 proposals per country or region will be able to go to the second phase, provided that they have a score equal or above 60 points. Okay. The second phase is the portfolio selection. So a dedicated panel, so the selection committee, which is made of members from EIT Urban Mobility, will actually add additional points and look into following the additional factors. So they will look into the video pitch, the quality, the credibility, the quality of your responses, because the questions are clearly written in the call manual. So look into that and clearly go to the point with the time limit that you have, and business intelligence. So they're going to look into your credit record, also with the EIT Urban Mobility, and your financial viability. Here there is a trick, which is an important information, which is if in business intelligence you have a minimum, there is a minimum threshold. So if your proposal have less than 5 points, actually it won't be considered. Okay, so this is very important also to understand. And finally, once your proposal, so we'll go all this process, we will finalize it, we have a ranking list, and actually we will communicate on the results. As I said, end of November, beginning of December, you will receive your summary evaluation report, either including only the quality evaluation if you were not passed to the second phase, or included the second phase, of course, if you were also assessed in this spot. For those proposals we were selected, you will actually receive a communication with some conditions, most likely, to pre-filled and to fulfill in a time limit in order to actually, at the end, be finally funded. Once this is done, so at the end, most likely at the end of December, you will finalize this step. You will receive a communication. If everything goes well, we will start the onboarding and contracting phase, so the project can start on the 1st of January. And this is just some guidance and reminders. Of course, you will have the slide. You will have the guidance for applicants ready next week on the call website. Sorry for the last minute because we're still running for a bit of a adjustment on NetSuite. So, but in any case, you will understand right now with Elisa how the application looks like in NetSuite. And you will also have this guidance next week available on the call website. The message is follow clearly and carefully the steps and register your organization in NetSuite as early as possible. Before submitting your proposal, of course, look into all the criteria, the list of requirements. Make sure you fit into all of them. Make sure you also have all the mandatory documents that they are listed there and that also been presented. Of course, a completed application, the self-declaration of competencies signed by the lead applicant, CVs in English of the key experts. There is no specific template for that, but please put it in a PDF. The PFT budget, the budget forecast, they are both Excels, and the video pitch link. Don't wait until the end. You will see, Elisa will explain right now, to avoid any technical problems. It happened in the past with Plaza. It can continue to happen. This is a new system. You probably don't know the system either. And to avoid any last-minute technical issue or overload of the system, please really don't wait the last day to submit your proposal. You have almost 3 months ahead. So we think you have also plenty of time to do this properly, okay? So I will directly give the floor to Elisa so she can explain the registration and submission process. If you have questions at the end, I think we have maybe 5 minutes, so we can also take some last questions. Thank you. Give you the floor to Elisa. Thank you, Elisa.
Thanks. Yes, so I try to be as quick as I can. So we try to save some time. And I'm not going to show you like all the details of the system, but I just want to provide you a brief overview of how it looks like so you feel a bit more confident. And then, as Anne said, please look into the guidance because the guidance contains all the screenshots of the different steps, the pages of the system. And I really warmly advise you to first go through the guidance and then start working in the system because there are some tips, information that we write in the guidance. If you know them, you follow the right logic in the system. Otherwise, maybe you can have some issues. So before showing you how the system looks like, I just want to remind you that in order to register in the system, you have to fill in the partner information form, so the PIF form. Now, if you already work with us with Plaza, you don't need to fill in this form. You only need to contact our service desk. It's written also in the guidance and ask them to give you access to the platform because we moved all your data to the new platform. You don't need to have access and everything will be there. If you are a new organization, so you never worked with us in the past, you never applied to any of our call, meaning you never registered in the Plaza portal, in the old portal, then you need to fill in the PIF. It's a very simple form. Now, I don't show you all the details, but you can see that it's not that long. It's some information about the company, basically. Remember that one key requirements that you need in order to be able to fill in and submit the PIF is the PIC number. Now, the PIC number is what you find here. This is the code that your organization will receive once you register into the funding and tender portal of the European Commission. So if you're a brand new organization working with EIT Mobility, the steps will be, first of all, filling in the PIC form. So you go to the European Commission portal, you find the link here and also in the guidance. You fill in some information about your company, you submit it, and you receive a 9-digit number. Once you have this number, you can come inside this PIF information form. You put here the number. you fill in the information about the company, you submit this form, and then our service desk will provide you with the credential to have access to the system and will link you into the system. So either it's a 3-step, pick, PIF, and then you can enter in NetSuite. If you are already worked with us in the past or you applied with us in the past, then you only need to contact the service desk, have access, and then you can start filling the application form. So remember these steps. Now, looking in how the system looks like. Now, this is the test version of NetSuite. So if you don't see this word when you work with the system, don't worry. It's because we are using a test version, but it's exactly the same thing that you see. So when you have log in, you will see you don't have many buttons or options. You go under menu, call for proposal, open calls. You click here. And then you see which are the calls that are currently open in the system. Now, for example, we take this one, which is the one we're talking about, and you click on apply. You will be able to see when the call was launched, when it's the deadline, also the time of the deadline, and if the call it's running, of course. So we click on apply. And once we click on apply, the application form is open and is created, and you can start to fill it in. Just a second that it's loading. Okay, so here you see your form, you see which call you applied to, and again, the opening and closing date of the call. And you see that the status of your proposal is in progress now because you're working on it. You don't see any ID at the moment because the ID will be generated in the moment you save the document as first time, as draft. So what you have to fill in is to put the project title, the acronym, start and end date. Now I do it very quickly so I can show you then how the other pages work. We just put a random date. Let's do, of course, this is not the dates you have to have, but it's just to have something. So it's title, acronym, start and end date. And then you go to the keyword section. So you have the executive summary first, and then the keywords. So here you have 2 blocks of keyword. One is the pre-defined one. So you click here, you see a list. It's a very long one. You just pick the one that are applicable to your project. You must have a minimum of 3, maximum of 5, but it's written here. And then you can enter the self-defined one. So now we include something. As you can see, it's quite easy. You click on the plus, you edit it, and then also by just clicking enter, the word is saved. Here again, minimum of 3, maximum of 5. Once you have filled in this first tab, you save. And please remember to save as often as possible, especially if you start to leave the form for a moment, because as many other platforms, also in NetSuite, after some times you're not active, you will be logged out. So if you didn't save, you lose what you have filled in until that moment. So please remember to save in as soon as you have some part that it's done, or if you see that you start to working a lot in one section, just save once in a while. And for sure, save each time you move from one tab to another, so you're sure that everything is saved. So now we go into the partner information form, and here you will see that the project leader is automatically assigned. So this is the organization I'm using now to create the form, and you find it here. And you see that in this case, since I am the person linked to this organization that created the application, my email address is already provided. So you cannot edit it now because it's set by default. My organization is also already included here. So what I have to do, it's only to include the description. And then you can add new organizations, so the other partner in the consortium. To do that, remember that you have to click on the plus, and then you must enter a valid PIC. So this is why also it's important what I showed you before, so registering in NetSuite, because once the system has registered a partner, and I know that there is a PIC linked to that, you will be able to add an organization here. So you can see now, for example, this is, of course, test numbers. This is a user. Since I wrote a valid PIC number, valid in the sense that the system knows that this is registered, then I can see who is the partner. Now, this is a code. Maybe the organization will be University of, for example, so you will be able to identify who this organization is. You click here, it's added. And then, of course, you include the description as well. You will then be asked to indicate if there are legal links between one or more, 2 or more of the organization in the proposal. You can click yes. If it's a yes, then you have to describe here who is linked to who and which type of link they have. Otherwise, you can also leave no if there are no links. And then here you also can add co-editors. Here again is the same logic of the adding a partner. So either you enter a full valid address, like from the very beginning to the very end, and then you will be able to link that person that must be registered in the platform, because the platform will see it's registered, I can display it, you can edit. Otherwise, you're not able to add co-editors. One comment on the co-editors. Remember that when you give this right to someone, this person will be able to modify anything in the application form and will also be able to submit the application form. So the advice is not to give, in general, too many co-editors, right? Because you risk to have too many people working in the system, and the system will not be able to save the work if you're working simultaneously in the application form. And second, if the person by mistake submits the application form, then of course you may have an issue. So try to give the co-editor rights only if it's really needed, and only to trusted people that really have to work closely with the lead partner. So now I save. And we go to the project scope tab, which is actually the core part of the application form, because because it's where you find most of the questions that are really linked to describing the type of activities you want to carry out, and so on and so forth. So here again, I just put some words to keep going, and I don't go through all of these questions because then you find them in the call manual, but you can see basically that here it's the most narrative part of the application form, so you will be provided long text. Especially here, since it's a long page and there is a long text, the suggestion is to prepare everything offline, and when you have the final text, you just copy paste it here and save it, because if you keep working on this page that it's very long in different sections, you may risk that the system will not save properly. So please be aware of that. Okay. At the bottom of the page, you also have the risk table. Here, it's a very simple table. So you click on add. You can select the type of risk from the table. Then you give a title. You can select which is the likelihood of the risk, and then you describe it and save. Once it's saved, you will find it in the table. And at the end, you have also the possibility to highlight if you have any ethics and security issues. So here again, you can click yes, and then you will be asked to select which are the issues from the list. You can select more than one if you want, and then provide a description here and save. If it's a no, then it's also deleted and you don't have any type of risk. Here again, I save. And now I try to speed up, because actually the work plan is the most interesting part, especially for one thing. So we show you what is the link between the work plan and the budget table, so you understand a bit what is the logic behind that, and you're a bit more aware when you work with that. So in the work plan, you can define the work packages of your project. Then you can include the outputs, milestone, the KPIs that are predefined. To add a work package, you click here, you write here the name, the description, you can select the start date. And let me just put something.
Maybe here while you are actually putting the date, Elisa, I just wanted to ask something which is actually very relevant for you, because we are actually asking you, as you know, the information for the entire period for the 4 years, right? But what we are the level of details we are actually asking you in the work package is the following. You put a detailed information divided by the tasks for 2025. This will be like the baseline, right, of your activity for a year. For the next period, 26, 7, and 8, it's written here exactly. A general description is enough. So no need to go into all the level of details of the task, except you know them very well. But at the end, we will consider this will be a very similar work plan for the other years. And as we said before, a similar budget, and then of course the same deliverables, etc. Okay, so yes, you can list, as Elisa is showing, for 2025. We need this to understand, of course, the details of the work plan and how it is everything interconnected. But for the other years, it's enough with the general information.
Exactly.
A high level description of your work plan inside this work package. Okay, and the work package start date end date will be linked to the project duration. So they need to start on the 1st of January 2025 and end on the 21st of December 2028. Yeah.
Yes, now I'm just quickly showing you more or less the logic that you should follow. And then linked to work packages, remember that the work package leader should be also always added as contributor. You find the note as well. So please, whoever is the leader, always add it as contributor. So you will always have at least one contributor in the work package. If you have more, of course, this is fine. Now, for example, I had also another one. I save. The reason why it's important to add it as contributor, it's because based on who is linked as contributor in our package, the budget tab will create, first of all, the view for that partner and will show up which work packages they are supposed to work into. Now I will show you because maybe it's not that clear to explain. So I quickly show now. So this is the summary table, which you can also close and open by clicking on it. And here you can see this partner. Now I add it as contributor in work package 1. So this column is displayed. And then I have the second partner again with work package 1. If now I add this partner also to work package 2, here you will see a new column, work package 2. But if this partner is only linked to work package 1, it will only show work package 1 in the budget table. So going back to the work packages, when you create a work package, you can also add deliverables to it. So the deliverable is also always embedded in the work package. You click on add deliverable, you write the name, the description, the achievement date.
And here also I can also jump in. You will see in the guidelines, but you also see in the call manual, it's very clear. We foreseen a maximum of 4 deliverables per year, provided that you cover the 4 work packages. Okay, so you're gonna have, for instance, here 1 work package related to the first, 1 deliverables related to the first work package on capacity building, for instance, and the deliverables will be deliverable 1, 2025, capacity building, blah, blah, blah. You will have here a second deliverables, the same capacity building, 2026, and the same 27, 28. And you will repeat the same logic for each work packages, providing that, for instance, you cover the 4, you will do the same exercise. So 4 deliverables per year, 4 deliverables per year, and inside with each work package, you will have 4 deliverables. Okay?
Super.
Thank you, Lisa.
One note regarding this part, as you can see, once you create a work package or a deliverable, the number is automatically assigned. So you don't need to number them. And if you delete them, they will get renumbered. So if now I have 2 work packages and I delete the work package 1, the number 2 will be renamed as 1. The same happens with deliverable. If I have 2 deliverables and I delete the 1, the number 2 will become 1. I'm saying this because the system is following this logic, but it would be good if you defined this type of structure offline and start to fill in the form when you are more or less sure about what is the structure. Because if you keep adding, removing work packages, deliverable, the system at some point may get a bit confused with the numbering. If you do it all together, you know, in the same day, deleting, adding. So try to avoid that if possible, and prepare a bit the first draft at least offline. You can always modify it, of course, in the application form. Just try to avoid to overload it with changes all at the same time. So outputs, this again, very simple. You click on add plus, you put the output name, the description, the date of achievement, responsible partner, who they are, how many they are, who is contributing, and then you save. Here. Milestone, exactly the same, so I don't even show you because it's exactly the same logic, the same type of table. KPIs, as you can see, this part is pre-filled, so all the KPIs which are linked to this call are displayed here. And you can see that you have to insert the target value for the year 25, 6, 7, and 8. The achievement date, of course, in this case, as you can see, it's only 1. So please put the latest one. Don't put the achievement date for 2025 because it wouldn't make sense. And remember one thing, if you don't have all of these KPI in your proposal, you must still fill them in, meaning that when you fill them in, if, let's say now, this is not probably the good example, but let's say that I don't have the 4.2, then in the explanation, you can write not applicable. You write 000 as target value in all of the fields. Achievement date, you can put something random also like the end of the project. You have to add a responsible partner because the system forces you to do that. So just pick something randomly. If we see not applicable and all 0, we will disregard the other information because we know that that KPI is not included in your proposal. But fill them in because otherwise the system will give you an error message that something is missing. If you delete it, at the beginning, it will look like you could delete it, but actually it doesn't work that way because the system will always put it back since these are the KPIs linked to your call. So just fill them in, even the ones that are not applicable for you. This is very important because if you start to delete them, then you will get an error message. You will get confused on why it keeps popping up. So please just fill them all in and put 0 value. Of course, you can also add other KPIs. Now, I don't know, Anne-Laure, if in this case it will be applicable or most of them will be covered by the one that are here, but nothing prevents you to add a new one. You will be able to select from the list of all KPIs we have. I don't know, now this we already have it, but in any case, you just put it here and then you fill it in like the other ones with explanation, target value, achievement date, and so on. So let me save. And then I just quickly show you how the budget looks like, and then we are basically done. Just a moment. Okay, so just one note on the supporting document. This is the tab where you can upload all the documents which were mentioned before. So these will all be mandatory documents to upload. And here is also where you can include the link to the video pitch. So when you have the video pitch ready and it's uploaded, then you put the link here in this tab. For the budget table, so the last part, it's basically what I said before. So you have the total per project, and then you have the budget section per partner. As you can see, in both cases, you can open and close this tab in order to visualize it a little bit better. The total is auto-filled in, so you don't need to do anything here. Based on what are the figures you include in the partner section, then this part will be automatically filled in and you will see the total per project. And here, again, it's very simple. Now you see only one word package because I didn't create several one, but you will just put the figures and then add the description here. Of course, the description now, I just put something a bit random. Try to put something that is a bit exhaustive to make us understand how you plan to use these resources. So 3 FTE, it's a bit short, of course. So a brief summary of which activities are covered, who is working in case of staff, in case of other goods and services, more or less what you plan to buy, in case of subcontracting, which part of task you plan to subcontract, and more or less, you know, what is the amount linked to them. And at the end, when you have all the table filled in, let me just put something else. Here you will be asked to write down what is the funding percentage. So this is the percentage of EIT funding, so the part of the budget that will be covered by EIT. And then you have a different type of co-funding, which is the own funding, meaning the money that you will cover. What will be covered or may be covered by other national or regional funds. What is other EU funds that are not EIT related. Other funds, so if it's not any of this category, and other private funds. Of course, you don't have to fill them all. The important thing is that the sum of this is 100. The system will prevent you to write more. So for example, you see, I get an error because it's said that the funding must be 100. So for example, also if I put 100 here and then I put 20, this will not be okay. And the same goes if I write, I don't know, 50 and 20, then again, I'm missing something. So the system will always tell you if it's not okay. And then you have to basically do the same for all of the partner involved. So budget, explanation, and then include the funding percentage. This is it. I know it was a bit quick, but the intention was not to show you like all the details because, as I said, all of this information are inside the the guidance that you will find with all of the screenshots, step by step, what you need to do. Just one last thing, remember that when you're done, basically you click on submit. Now you will see, for example, that I get an error message because something is missing. Once the proposal is submitted, you will see here like now that the proposal has been submitted. The status will appear as submitted, but you don't receive any email for now. To be sure that it was submitted, you can, however, simply go to the main page. So before I show you, we went in open calls. Now, if you go under My Applications, you will see basically that the proposal is submitted if it was submitted. And this is actually also the page where you find the proposal in draft. So let's say that now we are not done with the proposal because indeed we didn't submit it. You will always be able to find it here under My Application. And the one we created now, I think it was this one. So you will find it here. You see that it's in progress. You see also the start and the end date of the proposal you are in draft. And then you will always be able to open it from here and continue editing it. When it's submitted, as I said, you will see that it appears as submitted the status, so you know that it's submitted. You cannot do multiple submissions. So once it's submitted, it's closed. You cannot modify anything else. So be aware of that and submit it only when you're sure that everything is it's final and ready. Okay, so I think from my side, that was it. As Anne said, please avoid to do the submission the very last day. It would actually be good if you do it at least the day before. And please register in NetSuite as soon as possible, because we are sure that we grant you access and you start to work on the proposal. If you find some issues, let us know. It's not that the system is bad, because we tested it really a lot of time and we did a lot of, complained a lot of scenarios basically. But the problem is that once people, users, external users starts to use the system, it can happen that some issue that we didn't know start to pop up, and we will fix them, of course, as soon as we can. But that's why it's important that you start to work in the system soon, because then we have the time to look what is the problem and fix it. If you wait the last minute, then we are really not able to tackle all issues. That's all. I don't know if you have any question. Probably not that much on this part, I guess. But then, of course, write us when you use the platform if you need any help or if you have any issue.
Yeah, thank you very much, Elisa. I share the PMO address on the chat. In any case, in the guidelines, you will also see the contact details in case you have technical or doubts on the application form in NetSuite.
And
Super.
of course, if you are having any question regarding the content part, you are having in the call manual the RIS address. And you can write an email to the RIS address. So yeah. RIS at EIT-urban-mobility.eu.
Perfect. So I seen, sorry, because it's already a bit late, but we know there are questions or doubt on the PFT, and I think it's good that we stay here to clarify some aspects. So please go ahead with your questions. For those we can stay, otherwise it will be recorded anyway. But we can also, as we said, also answer by email if you have other questions afterwards. So, yeah, we can take an additional questions or.
Yeah, having one. Joe, please.
Yeah, thank you. Very quickly, just to ensure that we fully understand the PFTs. So if find the PFT with the code CREA1 basically is the same as it is mentioned as the KPI, right? So is it the creation of startups, correct?
Yes, it can overlap. So that's the reason that if you are going to this PFT calculation table, you see that for the KPI there is no value. So there is no euro value, because if you are fulfilling the one, you are fulfilling more or less the other as well. Okay. Maybe in special cases not, but most of the cases, yes.
And when you say startups created with support of EIT Urban Mobility, basically is with that a startup that has been created as a result of an activity that's proposed in this cover.
Yes.
Okay. And then the second one, the following one, CREA 2, is pretty much the same thing. So started has been created with the support of the urban mobility, could actually in the end be the same as the previous one, but then that was able to raise at least 10K.
Yes, of course, the second one is much more valuable for us, but we understand that in the first year it's not really realistic. And because of that, just to show that, okay, you can reach something in the first year, let's show us. And later on, if you are reaching the 10,000 euro, you can put it again and you can say, okay, it's reached.
And then imagine that we end up working with a startup that was created like 2 years ago in an EIT Urban Mobility program. And then through the activities of this cover, they raise 10K. Would this be eligible, or do they need to come, as I understand, it doesn't mean that they need to come from this specific cover. They can be, but you see the point?
I think it's a tricky question because it depends. Have you already accounted it in the other project as a result? If yes, of course, it would be double counting, and you cannot do it. If it's a nice side effect, you can say, okay, it's a new result. So
I'm just exploring to fully understand. I don't have any specific case, to be honest, but imagine that the startup that was created even without our own participation previously, so we would not account for CREA 1, right? But then we help them raise funds in 2025 or 2026.
It's always crucial that what you are accounting as PFT, you should have an active role by the reaching. So if somebody was creating a startup, but you were not part of it, you were not supporting it, of course, we are happy that there is a startup, but it doesn't mean that you reach the PFT. You are reaching the PFT if your active contribution is crucial for.
I understand, but I think this did not myself clear. Obviously, if this startup was created in any other program without our intervention, one would never report it as our own CREA 1, so the creation of the startup. But now imagine that we are now working with them and we are helping them raise funds, doing a round of funding for 2025, and we actively support them in acquiring funding. So that will be CREA 2. Would this be eligible for CREA 2, or does the startup need to come? The generation of the startup itself needs to come from our own intervention, because I understand that can be a consequence, but the way this seems formulated,
the startup has to be connected to us. So if there is a startup which is having a 10,000 euro invoice, but having was not participating in any of the EIT Urban Mobility programs, of course, it's nice for the startup, but it's not for us.
No, but that okay. That now it's clear for me. Okay. I mean, I have other questions, but I leave the floor to others if they have some questions there.
Thanks, but if there are nobody other, so you can ask your question as well.
Okay.
So I see no other hand raised, so
okay,
you are very polite, but you can take the floor.
Okay. So thank you. I hope at least the clarification are also helpful for others. So the following one, deal 1.6, applications for high potential startups, including so to impact venture pros. Oh, so it's supporting them in this. The goal is to ensure that there are applications for high potential startups to these programs that I mentioned there. These specific programs.
Yes, so quite all of the PFTs are somehow connected to our programs. So you are just filling the pipeline of the programs, you are scouting the right ones, and you are supporting them to apply. And if this application is successful, you are having other PFT, and if the application is just made, but it was not successful, we would like to appreciate as well. So you may have another KPI. So there are different ways to support. And of course, in the PFT, it will be shown that was it just application or was it just a successful application?
Okay, but at least the on page 24, the table that is shown there, it refers to applications. But what we're saying is that if on top of the application is successful, the way it is counted is different. Is that what you mean?
Yes, of course. If the application is successful, it's a much higher success. So it shows that you are not having just the quantity, but also the quality of the applicants.
Okay. Thank you. That's all. Thank you very much, Vincent.
Welcome. Any other questions? If it is not the case, of course, you are always having the possibility to ask questions by email, and we will produce this questions and answer part. And I'm very sorry for the inconvenience in the start with the Zoom, but I hope that you enjoyed finally this webinar and you found it successful. So thank you very much, and I thank also Anlo and Elisa for contributing to that webinar. Thank you very much, and I wish you a very nice day and successful application.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay,
goodbye.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much. Bye bye.
Thank you.